All right, let's see here. So, for this one, we're going to be working on figures. Just some basic figure drawing things to keep in mind as we go through here. No matter what age you're at, drawing a figure is about the same. You're going to want to start with the head. And the head's just going to be kind of an oval shape like that. Notice when I'm drawing, I keep my wrist locked and I do all of my drawing here with my fingers. The way I grip my pencil allows for most mobility along those lines. So anywhere you're going to want to draw as many as you want. Some are going to be a little fatter, depending on the angle. And there's a lot of people that start with a circle, and then they'll draw kind of a chin off of that. Proportions for the head should have a line down the middle, halfway across, roughly. Eye line, nose line, mouth line, so you're doing half, half, half. For the basic figure, we're just going to actually kind of start off with just kind of guidelines to give us an idea of where that head's going to be at. I'm going to go ahead and start off my body just like I would making a stick figure. So don't overthink it. Remember, the spine has curves to it and is not as flat as we make our stick figures. Even straight on, it's more interesting if you have a bend to it. I'll make this guy go this way. Guy, gal, whatever. Then your next one is your shoulders or your hips. Kind of determine where you want those to be, depending on the angle that you're working at. And then off of that, we're going to start with our joints. So think about each joint as a circle, some sort of a connection to the next area here. And same with the hips. Down here, hips can be a little bigger. Alright, and then your legs, however you want to run your legs off of that. Again, you're just doing lines. These are all gestures. These are what are called construction lines. Gives a general sense of where things are going to end up. It's really best if you look at people and you kind of get an idea. Notice also when I'm looking at proportions here, I'm thinking about keeping this section here so that I could put a couple more heads in. One head there, give me the full distance between my chin and like my belt line. Then I start to think about the planes of the body. So in the chest, you've got like a plane for where the ribs are, right? If we imagined a rib cage on this person. And then the stomach is kind of just a mass here of organs and skin. It doesn't have the skeletal structure off the top. So if I were to have my ribs here, hopefully you can kind of see where I'm going, imagining the ribs here. And then working off of that. So down here's my stomach into my waistline. All right. Arms, same kind of thing. Here's my points, my connection points. And then I would start building the muscle off of that. Everything connects back at one of those points. Got an elbow in there. And back up for the arm. So that kind of system here as well. Make that arm go out a little far. And the more practice you do on this, the better it's going to end up. I'm just going to have more detailed work. Okay, this is where my hip was, but this is all going to be those thigh muscles that draw off of that hip. So when you got a stick figure and you're going from hip to kneecap, you start with a line, but truthfully that represents bone structure that's all inside there. So then you have your muscles that come off of that to actually give it your thickness. And it depends on how muscular you want to make your person, what kind of physique you're going for. Your shin bone sits at the front of your bottom part of your leg, and then the calf muscle curls up on the back of that. So things about human anatomy that you want to pay attention to when you're creating your person. And then you can go through and you can kind of just darken in the lines on the outside. Don't darken the lines on the inside. A lot of people make that mistake. Those are construction lines. They are meant to just kind of guide you in the process, right? You don't show everybody the process of creation here. So I mean, all of those lines that I put in there, at the end of the day, you're not even going to see them, but they're important to have when you're first learning this out. The more that you practice, the less you have to draw those lines each time. Not exactly sure what pose that person's in, but there they are. Get into another one of our figures here, same thing. Where's the chest go? My ribs. Okay. How's that abdomen? The lower part gonna correlate. Following some sort of an hourglass kind of shape here. For the neck, kind of curves up. This one I didn't give a neck because his head's kind of over it. The neck would be like in here to the back of the head, which you can see a little better on this one here. Looks like a monkey. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of the way that the neck runs into the back. So this would be like a 3/4 view of a person. And then in here, same kind of thing. I'm thinking about where the waist is, where the legs are going to go. When you get to hands, use your hands. Hands are broken down like this. That's basically this part of the hand right here. Okay, you're going to break it down the best you can into just simple shapes. That's why we teach shapes when we're so young. I've got this big fat part here, okay, the meat of the thumb, and the thumb breaks down into a couple other shapes. I got a square here, and then kind of the tip of the thumb. Here is the top part of this hand box that I made. That'll be across this crease line. And then it's just point after point, working my way up the finger. So 1, 2, and then the rounded tip. Same thing on this one. Once you kind of get a feel for it, you don't have to draw the construction lines every time. But I encourage you to draw them as often as you can. Uh-oh, I made my palm a little bigger. Like so. And then as you bend it, you get things like foreshortening. You're not actually going to see all those top fingers. You're going to just have a little bit there. And I'll break the hands down into another tutorial, another video after this. In fact, I'll go back through faces. I'll go through different pieces there. This is just kind of a rough overview here of figure drawing. Hopefully you are able to follow along. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think in the section below there.